you guys this time. So hey guys, definitely happy to have you in my in-room studio. Audience is being taken care of. I appreciate you guys joining in. I have Tony and Brittany. And one of the things that I've been talking a lot about in the group is how you can grow your income. And one of the things that we think about and that we can't ever skip past in personal finance is a lot of times debt stands in our way. And Tony and Brittany are one of the first. I would even say millennials because I think we're around the same age. I'm 36 now. And when you think about I mean, the amount of debt these people attack is and did, I mean, I'm gonna let them talk about it because I'm gonna be still more shocked because I didn't watch the thing at least a good 4 or 5 times. So it's just one of those things where you be like, man, somebody actually did that. In what was in their mental? You know what I mean? So no, so Tony and Brittany kind of start us off. Kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. They're not in the U.S. Prayers for you. I don't want you to be next to the craziness that's going on. And obviously with the pandemic, there was a lot of activity. But talk about kind of where you're at, what you're doing now, and then we want to talk a little bit about the journey with this personal finance and how much they paid off.
For sure. All right, I'm Tony, and my beautiful wife Brittany. We've been married for almost 9 years now. July will be 9 years. So we have 2 beautiful daughters, Harley and Willow. Harley's 7 and Willow's 2, and we have a baby boy on the way. So
baby boy on the way. Number 3.
So excited, man. So
I'm excited for you. I'm still
for sure. So yeah, man, we live in Japan. So we've been out here since September of 2021. So we live here. We used to live here before 2013 to 2015. And just a little bit about myself. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and graduated college in 2006 with a business degree. And then I ended up moving back to the Dallas area and worked in the car business for about 4 years. And then after that, I ended up applying for Officer Candidate School for the Navy, and I got accepted. And so I'm a lieutenant commander right now in the Navy, officer in the Navy, and so I've been in for 11 years now. And so that's as far as income is concerned, that's how I make most of my money. Yeah. And I met my beautiful wife when I first got stationed in San Diego.
Okay.
In LA, and we met up in Hollywood one night at a restaurant. And that was in 2011. 2011. And we got married in 2013. And the rest is history.
It's been a long journey. So
yeah.
How did you get connected? Well, first of all, thank you for your service, man. I get the privilege, and I have a lot of friends that's in the service. And one of the things that when you talk about personal finance, ministers and people of service constantly need our support in that. So I'm glad you're giving your life for me, because I get to rant and rave in the group. I'm not public on social media like that, but I get to just sit here and be with my family, and you give your life, you and your family, give your life to support that. But so how did you get started on this whole personal finance kick?
You want to start?
I would definitely say, well, I feel like right when we started seeing more of each other, Tony was really interested in like, what's your credit score? How much debt do you have? And that was the first time that I had ever been with anyone who was interested in something like that. So I was like, okay. It was quite
intriguing. What you trying to buy?
It was kind of intriguing, actually. So, as when we got married, as our relationship continued to grow and develop, Tony always has talked about money. I wasn't as confident in terms of like the numbers thing, but I didn't have a bunch of debt when we came into our marriage. I only had my student loan. Okay. I'm a pretty frugal person, so I didn't really shop a lot. So I didn't have a whole lot of debt and things like that, and I haven't really had a whole lot of credit established. So when we were in Japan the first time, we were paying off some of our small debt that we had brought over into the marriage. You know, I think Tony had like a car loan that we were paying off, and then we had started paying off my student loan. When we left Japan in 2015. Tony, he said to me, "Hey, do you want to take a financial course together?" You know, and I was like, "Sure." You know, he was like, "I had taken this course before when I stayed in Dallas, and you know, I think it'd be great for us to do it together." And I thought that was, you know, a good thing. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's take it together." So we took the course together, the financial course, and we learned so much together about finances. And that was when our first debt-free journey started.
Okay.
In 2015. So we started our first debt-free journey. Then it took us about a year to pay off about, was it 60, about 60,000.
60.
Yes. And we had, at that time, including my student loan, we had about $100,000 in debt.
Wow.
At that time. And so we put my student loan into like a debt forgiveness program, thinking, you know, okay, we'll just put this in a program and it'll be done. Well, the debt forgiveness program ended up going to court, which a lot of them seem to be going to court now. So, you know, that money actually was actually still there. So,
so it came back from court. Like, did it get a continuance or something?
Yeah. So, you know, we actually were, I think, quote unquote, debt free for like maybe a couple months, maybe a month or so from our first journey. Yeah. And we just slowly started using credit cards again. We relapsed, you know, we went and we started spending money. We renewed our vows. So in that period, I always thought to myself, like, man, like, what are we doing? You know, we knew.
Why are you spending?
Why are we spending this money? Yes. Okay. So, you know, fast forward to our second debt-free journey. Once we got out of our debt the second time, that's when our financial conversation, I feel like, in terms of our financial literacy, started to really evolve.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of, I know that was kind of a long way into like how we got started into like financial literacy and stuff, but basically it took us bumping our heads twice in order for us to really say, hey, we need to get savvy and smart. You know, God has given us resources to make pretty good money. Our track record shows that we're not doing what we need to do with our money to help it grow. And, you know, and so we really wanted to get on top of that. And that's when that really started.
Yeah. Okay. So the one, like I said, I did cheat. I usually don't try to watch people's stuff before I have them come out, but I cheated with this one. And one of the things I really liked about yours is, like you said, you did it twice. And to be quite honest, whether you're paying off $10,000, whether you're paying off $20,000, it all feels like $150. To no matter who you are. So even though I wouldn't say it might make you, I'm not trying to make you feel bad when I say this, but I do like the fact that you guys acknowledge, hey, we went in, we got free, and then we were human. We kind of relapsed. What do you think made you relapse, or what did you think made it different? I know you said you kind of went stronger in your intelligence of what to do with your money, but what do you think really made you relapse?
Okay, I'll turn it down.
Okay, so I think most of it was we had to really address the behavior. Okay. The behavior of, like you said, why are we spending money, right? How does making money, how does spending money make me feel personally? Because Brittany's pretty frugal.
Okay.
I'm the person that it's like when I spend money, I go big. It's not really no middle ground. It's like I'll go buy a car. I'm a car guy, right? So
okay.
I love cars, you know. So that was something that I would just Go to the dealership. Credit score 800. It doesn't matter, right? Go to the dealership. Boom, buy a car at the drop of a
they
hat.
give you 4 cars. Just
And
take
so,
them. We'll worry about it later.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that addressing the behavior piece and why we were spending money, and I think it was more of the, hey, we make pretty decent money. We had this mentality of, we know it's there, we'll pay it back eventually. And then eventually we'll never come with that mindset. Because it's like, man, we making money, we'll make more money. When in reality, it's like, it doesn't matter if you make 20 grand a year. It doesn't matter if you make 500,000 a year. If those behaviors are not in line, you're gonna blow through. I can see why athletes go broke. Because if that behavior is not there. It doesn't matter if you making $2-3 million a year, man. You're not in, if you can't control those emotions in your relationship with money, get a better relationship with money, you're gonna blow through it.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, the relationship you have with money. Like, I'm always jealous of frugal people, because you guys really like not spend it. Like, it doesn't give you any type of joy. You're like, I just want to have the money in my hand, or if I can save $5 on something. Whereas me, I noticed that I was real strict, and then you do a little bit better. You're like, that's not worth my time going on. I have a frugal wife, and she will be frugal to the day she dies. And that's good for somebody like me, because she'll stop me and be like, hey, hold on. See, I saved you $250. What would you do without me? I'm like, well, I would just pay the $250. It didn't hurt me. But she was like, no, you know what we could do with that? So I'm like, you pick and choose with that. But when you think about the families we come from, I mean, just being honest, the culture, we're flashy. You know what I mean? We our folks, you know what I mean? If I gave my mom $10,000 right now, she'd probably fall out, or, you know what I mean, faint or something. But it would, honestly, I think the 10,000 would be gone. I give it probably 3 months. She's cool, but slowly but surely that money will start to bleed out. And so what do you think is some of the things that you saw were challenges with trying to just get more healthier behaviors with money?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Okay, so Brittany and I, we got very similar backgrounds, right? Upbringings with money, right? So growing up, we didn't money was not talked about. It was almost like a forbidden sin. It was like, I heard this a lot. Boy, don't be counting my money. What you in my pockets for? You know what I'm saying? So that's how, no shade to our parents, they did
right.
You know what I'm saying? But on the financial literacy piece, it was missing altogether. We lived paycheck to paycheck. We didn't go without eating or anything, but there were times where the lights might have got cut off. And that's all because we didn't talk about no budget.
Right.
We didn't talk about none of that stuff. It was make money, spend money. And so I kind of had the same mentality growing up. Even when I was, selling cars up until now, it's like, man, I make this money, I spend this money. So there was no plan. There was no thinking forward of, hey, man, make this money, set yourself something to the side.
Right.
Invest some of that money. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to live off all of that. What is your 45-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old self gonna say when you're strapped? Are you gonna bless that person in the future? What about your kids? Kids. How you gonna take care of them? How are we gonna pay for college?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you fend for yourself. And it's like, no shade to the parents at all. Our parents, any parents.
Right.
It is really not our parents' responsibility to pay for our kids' college. It's like,
it's a gift.
It's a gift. It is icing on the cake.
Yeah.
But nobody talked about student loans, and it was the student loans was the norm. You go get this 18-year-old $100,000 to go to school, knowing dang well they ain't got no job line.
Right. Or common sense for that. To make it happen. What do you think? So you guys are, like I said, fairly young, about in my age bracket. And when you think about, okay, you're coming together. Now, again, I've talked to several couples, and one of the biggest things, because I've even been through that, I can actually hear when you first get married, because you guys been married for a while. We're coming up on 5 years next month. So I think you're at what, 10, right? So
we're coming up on 9.
Yeah, we're at 8.5.
Yeah. 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
You there. You
Yeah.
almost there. But one of the biggest challenges that I've seen, either working with people and even within myself, was from the male perspective. My wife talked to me about money. It's like my mama trying to tell me what to do with my money. The woman talking, or for her, it was because my wife did very well. She independent. She very well as a person, but for her, it was more like I'm trying to act like she heard a dictator coming to her, even though I could have just been suggesting, like, hey, you know what I'm saying, there's an opportunity. Because again, some of the habits change, meaning, hey, before you spend $400 or $500, why don't you just send me a text? What I gotta send you a text for? I'm like, well, it's just a courtesy, you know what I mean? I ain't say I was gonna approve, deny anything. It's just, oh, let me know. So what type of things did you guys do in your communication efforts to try to help lay a good framework to open that conversation?
Yeah, I would definitely want to give kudos, and I always do, to Tony, because when we first got married, I was independent. I was making my own money. I was living in LA. I had my own place. I had my own car. I had a mini savings account. I mean, but I didn't have, a whole lot of debt. So I was doing okay for a single woman, When we got married and we moved to Japan, I basically set my career aside, and I really didn't have a whole lot of money coming into this marriage. So I really had to trust that Tony would take care of me. And he did such a phenomenal job at his verbiage, at saying our money. Okay. Right? Right away, he would say, oh, we get paid this day, or we've gotten this check in the mail. And to me, it made me feel like he was including me, right from the beginning. He didn't make it seem like, oh, this is my money, I'm taking care of you. He used those words like we, our, us. And those are some of the things that I feel like help give me that security and comfort that I needed from my husband, because I'm like, so how does this work? I didn't know how this works. I'm like, do I ask you for a cheeseburger?
Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh.
How does this work?
Like, I'm hungry. I don't want this.
But Tony never made.
I got this card in my head. Should I be checking with you?
You know what I mean? But he never made me feel like you had to ask. And because where he got lucky, because I'm not a spender like that, right. I think about my purchases. He didn't really ever have to check me on anything, because I had sense enough not to be just trying to run up a check. And I knew we were living on one income. Okay. And this is, I'm in a really new marriage. So I really want to set a foundation and kind of deliver a message that I'm a responsible person with money too. Right. I really wanted to deliver that message so he could feel comfortable with me having our credit card or our debit card without him saying, hey, what you doing over there? You know what I mean? So I wanted to spend within the parameters of what we've already set within our budget. So we started doing a budget pretty early on in our relationship. So if we said, hey, we have $100 to spend at the grocery store, this is something that we both have communicated, that we have $100. Now, Tony's not going to trip if I go over $25, $50, because I need to get what I need to get for our family. Right. But if I'm out here buying shoes or a bag, then that's a different story. And I feel like right, that's not what we said, and that's where you start to get into like financial infidelity in a way. Yeah. And that's where you kind of get into you don't really trust that person with the funds, because they're not doing what they said they were going to do, and they didn't even communicate that they were going to do that with you. Not in a sense of, hey, I want to tell you, but this is what we got going on with our money. So I think right from the beginning, Tony made it very clear that this is one pot. It's not my money. It's not your money. This is our money. Right. And when I started back working, it just made it so easy. It's like, when I started back working and making money, it was like we put it all into one pot. So That's when
We
we
doubled. You can't get no better return than that. Ain't no stock market and no real estate for to pay you like that.
right. We doubled the pot.
yeah,
So
and if you're watching or following along, I really want you to understand what Tony and Brittany are outlining, and even what I kind of said is, and no matter who you talk to, money only disguises whatever issue you may have. So the truth is, I mean, I felt insecure with sharing with my wife. I'm like, what is she gonna be out here doing? Because I've seen good and bad. But yeah, like you said, Brittany, trust is earned. He knew she's frugal. She doesn't really spend hastily. She doesn't make hasty decisions with her money. Those are things you can count on. And then you guys been together 8.5, 9 years. So you put that over a period of time. And so now you get 2 years down the road of that same behavior, in addition to him saying, hey, this is our money. This is this. Because I'll tell you, you know what I mean? You went from a different, not just a different state, a different country. And somebody who moved for someone, and anybody out there who you ever move for somebody or your spouse moves for you, understand there's a level of vulnerability in that. And you talk about the mental challenges and all that. When you take somebody out their element and they're doing this for you, there's a level of comfort that's required in that transition that, again, we all don't really know about. It sounds sexy when you're hearing all your friends, oh yeah, I moved to Houston. But I know when I moved to Charlotte, I wanted to cry in my thing. I'm like, I ain't got nobody here. I got to reset. I got to get my career on track. So I know if I'm feeling that way, and I'm pretty hard to break. So if I'm feeling that way, I'm like any of my friends, I'm like, it's trouble or it's a struggle trying to go do something. Yeah, you got an exciting job, but you only doing that 40 hours a week. When you get home, you got to face the fact that I don't have my cousin down there. And then you got Facebook to let you know. Oh, so y'all had a barbecue? Dang, I missed that. I missed that plate. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? People just all of a sudden upload you. And then when you get back home, you be like, well, where was all, you know, so I can't get no barbecue now. So, but no, I really think it's important that people understand, number one, that trust is going to be huge. The opportunity when you're married, and I know we kind of lightly touched on it with doubling your money. The opportunity when you're married, it's weird. It's not something that you can quantify on paper, but you get exponentially further, faster than you ever could have did by yourself. Yeah. If you can just, hey, we're shooting for the same goal. That's right. And so speaking of that, how, you know what I mean, I think this would be a good point is, how much debt did you pay off, and in total, and how long did it take? Yeah.
So our second debt-free journey, we had accumulated over a few years, $235,000 of debt. And that included credit cards, some construction loans, because we bought a new house in that season. We had a Jeep, a brand new Jeep that was $50,000. Yeah. We had an IRS.
It must be a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, that's
Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, that's a nice truck.
Beautiful. Right? We had the student loan that was $50,000. So we had a lot of stuff that most people have, the bills that most people have, right?
Right.
So yeah, $235,000.
$235,000. And then how long did it take? 5 years?
It took us 19. It took us
19 months. I'm sorry. That was 19 months. Mm-hmm. How did you stay focused? Because and I'll again get your perspective. A lot of people, when the pandemic broke out, I kept telling people, hey, if you ever want to know or you want a trial on what it's like to pay off debt, the pandemic showed you shut down. When you go hard in the paint, that's the pandemic. Don't go nowhere. You're not really talking to nobody. The pandemic, that's exactly what it was. But how did you guys, especially in America, because again, people got divorced during the pandemic too. So how did you focus on that amount of debt and keep going?
All right. So I'll just go back to just how we started it for the second time. So my job requires me to move around quite a bit. during my career, a lot of schools and stuff. So sometimes I'm not home. So the last 3 or 4 years, I've been traveling a lot for work, deployments, training, all that stuff. So July 2019, I was in Virginia for some training. I was there for like 2.5 months. But when I was in Virginia, I was in my hotel room, living at a hotel. Brittany and Harley was home. And I had an epiphany, man. I was fasting for 7 days.
Okay.
I'd read my word, talking to God, no social media. You know, I do that from time to time just to, you know, kind of
recharge.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
And during that season or during that fast, God spoke to me very clearly. He said, hey, son, I'm giving you all these resources. I've blessed you with these resources. And you're not being a good manager. You're not being a good steward over the money that I'm providing for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, that's when it was like, hey, I got to get my stuff together. I'm supposed to be the man of the house, the leader, and my wife created the space for me as well. She allows me to lead. You know, she don't kick me when I make mistakes. You know, she's there to support me. You know, she picked me up when I'm hanging my head like, dang, that was stupid. That was dumb. And then, you know, she's there to like help me out because we're on the same team.
Exactly.
She's leading me just as much as I'm leading her.
Exactly.
But she need a space to be like, hey, you the man of the house. You better be the man of the house. You better go for it. And it took that. Talked to Brittany on the phone, say, hey, baby, how much debt do we have? And we sat down and calculated it. At that time, it was like $225,000. Mm. And over the, you know, we was like, all right, enough is enough. Putting our foot down. Let's start a debt-free journey. Right now, we make too much money. We squandered enough money away to try to look good, impress people, doing all these things that honestly we could save up for and do it.
Right.
And that's when we started Financial Peace again. Financial Peace University. We went through that course again together. So it was very humbling. We took a step back, gathered ourselves, and we started this journey, right? 2019. So what was it? Coming up 2020. We were pregnant with our second daughter. And January 2020, our second daughter was born January 13th. I left to go on deployment January 17th. Pandemic hit in March. Mm-hmm. So Brittany was working, but she was on maternity leave. So she was working and she was supposed to be going back to work in April. Pandemic hit. So there's no work for her at the time. I'm on deployment. Normally when you're on deployment, you pull in to do port visits and things like that. You spend money. Pandemic shut all that down. We were just floating in the ocean. Out by Iran and Iraq. Just floating in the ocean for 10 months.
Ooh.
10 months. We got extended 3 times. We're supposed to be back in August. We didn't come back to October. We got extended. Therefore, we didn't spend no money. So it was a blessing in disguise. Didn't spend any money. So it allowed us to be like, okay, let's just pay this. Just be real aggressive. Real aggressive. So we was doing our budget while I was on deployment via emailing back and forth whenever I had internet capabilities.
Right.
Plus the Brittany that she was gonna handle everything because we already on the same page. She know what. Wow. You know, she know how to take care of the bills. She know how to allocate how much money we need to pay out. What's the goal? Wow. We talked about that every month, whenever possible. Wow. Some months we didn't get to talk, but she knew what to do. And so we just stayed focused. Our goal is to get out of debt. We're sick of living in bondage. We're sick of living like everybody else. I hate paying bills. I'm sick of it. Right? I'm sick of paying for credit cards. I tell you this, Jonathan. We had one credit card we was paying on. Minimum payment, because we did the debt snowball, right? Did the minimum payment $324 for this one credit card. 280 of it went to interest. Interest. Oh, it made me so mad. I was like, ooh, it just lit me on fire, man. It's like, so I'm this money that I'm
interest rate so high. Like 280.
280 of it went to interest. I'm like, wow.
Stuff you probably ate. It was probably some Cheetos or something. You know, it ain't nothing you got in your head.
I ain't got nothing to show for it. We don't have nothing to show for that.
Yeah, credit card. That's why credit card debt works. A car loan, I'm opening the door to the car. A house, I'm opening the door to the house. Right. The credit card, man, that could have been anything. Like,
anything.
right.
It probably was.
Yeah.
Right. It was probably on sale at the time, but
We would go back and look at the statements like, okay, what did we spend our money on? Most of it was food. Like, what did
no,
we
I
spend?
get you.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
it'll definitely get you. So you'll never go back. And I do understand that there's definitely things in times in your life, and on anything. I think you have to do that a couple times. There are a lot of things that I think people need to understand. Hey, there are sometimes where you're like, hey, I won't be close friends with this person no more. Hey, I can't work at this job no more. Hey, I'll never experience this anymore. And some of those are reason why I go a little bit hard for money, because I look at money again as the opportunity to give you freedom. It's not a God or anything, but I'm like, if I'm out of work, the reason why I have options, or if I can walk out of here, is because I'm straight. You know what I mean? You don't know I'm straight. You don't know I don't necessarily need you like you think I do.
Right.
But that's what money, and it's a tool. That's what the tool is for. But the best gift it's giving me is I get to be here let's see, my daughter's 13 and a half months, or almost 14 months. Been here every single day, constantly. That, in fact, she's actually part of the routine. We both work from home, but my wife's been here. We're very fortunate in that fashion. But while my wife was out, she was out 4 or 5 months or something. She got to be with her kids. And if she needed longer, I'm like, you could take longer. That's what money does for you, is the opportunity. The friends, stuff comes up with my friends. I'm always selling friends different things. Hey, I got this coming up. Hey, such and such isn't feeling good. I'll pay for somebody lunch. I do that because I want accolades, but I'm like, it's a way that I can support and love you in a season that you might be experiencing a challenge.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's all. That's all money does for you. But the biggest thing is it gives you opportunity so that you don't be like, I have to do this. I have to be here doing it. And I mean, you guys being locked down like that. So what would you say as you look forward, because you're a couple years removed, what would you say now is your full goal? Because while I love the fact that you paid the 236, but the one thing that I also loved about your journey is now you guys are really pushing forward with the opportunity. Like you didn't kind of calm down. You didn't, oh, you know what I mean? I got my emergency fund. I'm cool. You're taking that next level and really trying to, hey, how do we build the wealth out? You know what I mean? How do we do the forward motion of the money? You know what I mean? So what are some of the things that you really started to focus on after getting out of debt?
Yeah. The main thing now is wealth building. You mentioned that. And so one of our major goals, a 10-year goal, is financial independence, retire early. So that's our major goal, right?
So you know your number.
We know our number.
Oh, so what's the number? If you want to share, but what's the number?
We'll share.
Are y'all doing asset or y'all doing monthly number? Because they got so many different.
Right. So we're doing. We have a total number.
Okay.
So number that we need to have in our brokerage account.
Okay.
In 10 years
to last
us forever. You know. So that's
right. Please understand. Financial independence, retire early. So you build up enough assets, and usually they say, hey, you make these crazy incomes, all that. You can really do fire on any income, but you build, the whole thing is you take what you want and invest, if I understand it correctly, 50% of that for 10 to 12 years, and that should produce the income that you need to live off on, where you can withdraw yearly without ever having to worry about running out of money.
That's true. Yeah. And so here's, like, we're just starting the fire journey. Okay. So, like, as far as what we have, we're not even close yet. Okay. But we are taking steps. We have a plan in place. Okay. We're being aggressive, and our portfolio is not set up yet as far as what our goals are. Okay. And we're getting there. We're building up to it. So we have increased our savings rate. Okay. It's not quite 50%. It's probably more like 35% right now. 40%. Okay.
That's still extremely high.
Yeah.
It's extremely high. Like,
absolutely, man. So we're being intentional about it.
yeah.
And so basically our fire number is high, but we're basing that off of us living in California because that's where we've been living for the
Okay.
last
That's where
5
you plan on
6
going.
years. So we're basing it off of, hey, if we move to Southern California, can we sustain the lifestyle that we were living before?
Okay.
And so that's our high number. So if
Okay.
we end up moving to like Mexico or something, or you know, Croatia or Portugal or something, then
Oh yeah, it changes
it
drastically.
changes
Yeah,
dramatically.
you're like a
Right.
lot of people be like, look, with this money, I can go over here. I think somebody was in what was it, Bali? But they were in
Bali,
Bali.
Mhm.
Yeah, they went over there with like penny, like a 25% of what they need in the US.
Yep.
And that's what I've actually been seeing more, like people as they go on these fire journeys,
Mhm.
which that's what people do in retirement. When you start getting close to older in the US, they start to be like, okay, what states can I go to that don't have taxes? And I'll make the most of my money. And then that's where they buy a house. So as you think about California and your plan is part, and it's just more to understand that there are a couple different ways you can do this thing. So there are some people who they pay off their house and they have the asset. Are you building in the fact that your mortgage, you're going to have a mortgage during that time, or are you building the fact that your house is going to be paid for, especially
We
the fact that you're going to be in California?
Right. So we actually don't plan on having a mortgage between now and the next 10 years.
Wow.
So yeah. So our fire plan is we're about 10 to 11 years.
Okay.
So we actually don't plan on having a mortgage between now and then. So we'll
Wow.
probably
Invest that money.
So
Wow.
we'll more than likely we will add some real estate to our portfolio, which
Right.
is something that, like Tony said before, our portfolio is not complete where we actually want it. But so we'll add real estate to our portfolio to help us get to fire, but we won't actually, be carrying a mortgage for, us living there and stuff. So I think that once we hit fire or once we get to our 10-year goal, that's when we will evaluate whether or not we want to purchase a home.
Okay.
And at that time, Tony will be retiring from the military. So we'll have a little bit more,
Yeah.
we
You're
have the
right.
next 10 years to travel if we want to,
Yeah.
And so we're probably looking at maybe doing that. We're not really sure, but we base our number off of Southern California. In the event that we move somewhere else, we have the cushion. So we rather have more money,
Yeah. Then you need. Yeah.
not enough,
Yeah.
So
You can easily go to Vegas and cut that number in half.
you know what I mean?
Right. Like,
But
Sad.
but we just never know. So we just went with the
Nice
highest,
number.
and that number is 3.3 million.
okay. Okay. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
We just it has fluctuated quite a bit, and it probably will. I feel like over time
Mhm.
we just started in January.
Okay.
And initially it started at 3.2. Then we went in and we looked at some other numbers, and then it went to 3.3.
Right.
And then, so I feel like over the years it might kind of swing a little bit here and there, but not, a dramatic swing.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I like about the calculators, and I've been fortunate because I worked with a lot of millionaires and I've read a lot of books, but mostly the fact that I've been able to watch people's portfolios, and when you have access to that information, you go back and be like, dang, how did they get to this number? You can start looking at when they deposit, when they didn't deposit, what was the market doing. The fact is, none of them, the number that they are when I see them, just for servicing or what have you, none of them ever said I thought it would be that number. all of them said that people, they do the calculation, all that. They were like, the number was lower. And the reason for that is, obviously, you guys know you can't really predict the returns, but I always find it interesting that I haven't found anybody that will say, hey, I calculate this and that's what it came out to be. It's usually more, the economy usually does better than they have, which is good because you rather underestimate and over deliver on the money side. Like, that's the thing that I really always find interesting about it. That I'm like, so the real key, and even Dave and a lot of his books, and I mean, many of people podcasts that they talk to millionaires and all that type of stuff, they're like, yeah, they just focus on the savings rate. they really just focus on, hey, if I miss this month, let me get back on the horse next month. Or if I, you know what I'm saying, if I was doing 2,000 a month and maybe I got to drop down to 15, okay, let me hurry up and get back to 2,000. Whatever they got to do, which the fact that you guys are already at 35%, that in itself is exceptional. And that is you guys, you're amazing. 225. That's a house, man. Like Texas, you know what I mean? And I see that. I wish I could go get that house right now. But it's a house. It's a house in Texas. It's so important. So yeah, you guys, like I said, probably if you're watching this on YouTube, after you see mine, or if you're watching mine, you'll see 5 other videos. I'm telling you, you will get addicted to watching this story if you haven't seen it, because it's just so remarkable. Because you guys are remarkable too. Tell people where they can connect with you. I know you're on IG. I know you're on YouTube, and I'll definitely get your take your info and make sure it's down in the description and share it in the group as well. But how they can connect with you, and let them know if you have any. I think you had a guide or a seminar out too. So kind of let us know how we can connect with you. I could be wrong, but let us know.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So Ingram Muscle is our IG, INGRAM Muscle. Facebook is the same, Ingram Muscle. Twitter is Ingram_Muscle. And our YouTube is Ingram Muscle as well. And we do have a website, ingrammuscle.com. We don't have a course or anything yet. It's something that we are working on.
Okay. So I just gave the beans away. I was like, I was 5 steps ahead. I swear I thought I saw it on your page, though. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But no, so they don't have a course yet, but you got the Ingram Muscle website.
Yeah.
Ingram Muscle, I know on IG, and also Ingram Muscle on YouTube. And they do talk about their journey, but and they also are big fitness people. But if you're on their IG, really go look at that last reel, man. That thing, because I was like, wait a second, you know what I mean? Let me come back. What have they been doing? You know what I mean? So so excited for you. They got that new baby boy on the way.
Appreciate
it. It won't be long before he's lifting weights or moving stuff around.
That's right.
I'm sure.
No, I appreciate you guys coming in, sharing your story. Obviously, once you get closer on that next project, we definitely want to support you as much as we can. So definitely maybe come and talk about that. Guys, you can do this journey, 220,000. Don't get me wrong, that is a big number. But it can be done. And it can be done because other people did it. Yours may not look the same. Obviously, your situation might be different from them. It may even take you a little bit longer. But like they said, they fell off the horse a little bit. They got back on. They didn't say they fell off the horse and they was like, man, we tried. You know what I mean? No, we fell off the horse. Hey, how can we go forward? And then subtly, they kind of talked to you about their why and their legacy of what they're trying to do forward. So happy to meet you guys. And they've been married 9-10 years. Well, 8.5, 9 years. Let me get it correct. I don't want to rush you, but it's coming. But that means something, again, because like I said, my mom wasn't married for 10 plus years. I'm 5, so I feel like, hey, I just try to go each day. Let me be married one more day, and today was a good day. Okay, cool. So we'll make it, but we need more of that. And then the fact that you're bringing up those beautiful babies, that they get to be a part of that as well, is going to be phenomenal. So glad you guys came. I'm going to chop it up with you here shortly, but I can't wait to see you guys here in the group in the next video.